is a neighbor.
Yes.
Okay, and what we want to do, we invited Arlene over to hear her story or hear what's important to her right now, what's going on in her life, or pretty much what's driving you right now.
What's driving me right now? Love. Love, unspeakable. For the first time, and I can't even remember. I'm in a place where I'm accelerating in loving myself, and all everything about me, light, dark, whatever, and I'm excited for what's coming. I'm very excited. I feel an anticipation toward something awesome, something really awesome, not just for me, but for those around me, maybe everybody.
What does that feeling feel like?
It feels, what's the word?
It should feel foreign because it's typical for us to feel things from ourselves and the energy that we cast out or we broadcast. But thinking there's something outside that's going to influence you is an alien concept to me.
Yes, but I have lost everything. I have nothing else to lose and only have to gain. So I'm at the point where I made a decision to receive whatever it is, however unknown, however nuts, however, because what I'm feeling that's foreign, that's coming, is good. Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think if you were to manifest that into or internalize it and grow that which you believe is happening, and if you grow that internally, it'll manifest.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how generally things work. My friend and I was talking about our magic. We both believe in magic. I joke with her and I say, I got a handful of magic. And if I use it up, it's okay because I got a pocket full of miracles, right?
Yep.
Okay. And I believe these things. And once you start believing them, like you're feeling something right now. So,
well, let me tell you, I wasn't there. I've been on a roll with this for probably 2 months. Before that, it was very difficult for me to believe in magic. It was very difficult for me to think that I deserved love, or that it was ever going to come, or that I was ever going to feel safe. So, this is something that I have been, I think for the longest time, just choosing to be alive each day, choosing to work with the day, work with God, work with what I call my entourage, but it just seems like in the last couple of months, as each day has gone by, it's gotten easier and easier, and I've been on this snowball roll.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, what's your entourage? You want to explain that for the world here, because the world's listening.
Yes, my entourage are my angels, my spirit guides, Jesus, those maybe my ancestors as well. Those that I feel are with me to encourage me, and to show me the opportunities that are always available to me, don't always see them, and to help direct me to make my own choices.
Okay.
So,
that's cool.
yeah.
You mentioned the ancestors, and that's a concept I'm familiar with because I think I am in touch with mine through my dreams. Okay, and I try to do out of body stuff. And at one point, I noticed that the people in my dream world or life or whatever you want to call it, they look familiar, and it's usually the same group. And I decided to get comfortable with them and to find out who they were. And the more I talked to them, the more I realized they were my past lives that my mind had conjured up so that I could understand each one of those DNA. Every time we were here, we produce more. So there's more. So that's our form of infinity. We can make it.
Yes.
Our DNA is going through. We're gonna last. Okay.
Right.
And every one of those characters had a life, and every one of those lives have experiences. And now I can talk to them when I go to my dream world, and they can tell me stuff.
Well, they told me.
Okay.
They told me that I am not this body, but I am all those lives I've lived, all those lessons I've learned, and I just have to remember who I am.
Right. That's a one.
Yeah.
This is all one thing.
Yeah. So, and I was afraid before to really delve into a lot of this because I was in a position where it wasn't used for my good. So I was around some people who were using some things that weren't for my good. And so it created a fear to look. But the one that stuck with me, that I was not afraid of, that I can see his face, is Jesus. And I'm just starting to open up, wanting to know, and not hold back. So that's exciting too.
Okay. Yeah, and I was excited once I understood that this is immortality, and I'm immortal. I'm a spirit, but I'm just this little life of that long spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I address them, they tell me more. Okay, and I've learned crazy stuff like chakras. Chakras is a word for organs. Mm-hmm. And when your organs aren't right, if one of them's wrong, of course your body is out of balance.
Right.
So,
right.
And it was just information that's passed along that got kind of distorted. And we think of it now as something mystical and magical, and you got to have yourself all aligned, and you can do it with sound, and it's just.
I think that's like us being children, that we have needed these imaginative playthings to help us connect to truths.
These are our blocks.
Yeah.
We're stacking them. Okay, we're trying to learn.
Yeah. And so whatever works, for me to connect to something and to remember it and to understand it, I think it's all good. So.
Where do you think it'll lead?
I think I'm contemplating that because I envision and I want so badly for people to be open and unified and loving, and I want to change, but I want to watch society change. I want to see, and I don't know what that all sums up to. I mean, I know a little bit from my experience, but where we work together to create joy.
But we already do that.
I know, but I mean, in this 3D world, because I believe that, I'm believing that, that this time that we're going into is where we're not just a body, but that we are we are integrating the spirit and the body, working together. Where we don't have to die and become another body again. We can just move forward.
Through our DNA.
Yes,
We do
yes.
that through our consciousness.
For our consciousness. And
Right.
so my hope, and I dream of what that might look like, is for humanity to move forward in that. And, the joy in that we don't have to suffer anymore. We don't have to be in the dark anymore. We don't have to.
Dark being negative to you?
Yeah, well, dark, negative, the things that are not joy, the things that are, I believe that there has been, like, that the divinity has had a light and dark for us to learn lessons. But there has been a darkness that has come in that is not that. And that is what I don't want anymore. But we're going into a different time frame now. We're going into a different way of being where, it doesn't have to be as dark as it's been. Do you know what I'm saying?
Kind
I
of,
don't
sort
know.
of, but
I don't know if I'm explaining.
there were concepts way back. When I first learned about Taoism, I looked stuff up, and Taoism was formulated from some basic concepts that were 7 to 10 years older than Taoism, which was 5,000-6,000 years from, in the past. So we're talking close to 20,000 years ago. People had concepts like yin and yang, opposites, okay, duality, and those very things people taught to one another, and people learned how to be, how to be with one another, how to be, and over time it changed, okay, because some of those were taught in Asia, because that's a Chinese type of thing over there, but it was beneficial. But the key thing there was things aren't negative, things aren't dark, things aren't shadows. I've heard you talk about shadows before, and a simple tool of your perception is just to say, there are no shadows. There's just what I haven't understood yet. There's a good thing, and then it changes. But there's good in that change too. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It's different. And just that simple change in your perception to say, okay, I'm going to find something there that's beneficial to me.
Yeah, how do I know what's joyful to me if I don't know what's not? We
all know that.
Well, right, but I guess that's the polarity, that the duality that has been a good thing, about as we learn in this body about each other and about ourselves, but I do believe that there has been a darkness that has been on this planet that has nothing to do with that, and that has infiltrated, and those shadows gotta go. Those that has no benefit to humanity whatsoever. It only destroys. But the way I believe that I rid myself of that is by learning who I am. Learning what I'm capable of and standing in that. I don't have to fight that. I just have to be who I am.
Right, and learn acceptance of that. That does exist. It has always existed. It will always exist. The yin and the yang, it's always going to be there. And again, if you just change your perspective and say, there's something good in that I can find to work with, we will find that it is not that negative. It is, it exists.
I think what happens with us is we look at humanity and we see man's inhumanity to man. And so that becomes like lack of knowledge and that sort of stuff. We call that the dark side or whatever.
Right.
And we're waking up and realizing that we're spirit, not this body.
Right.
And that as spirit, we can do all of these wonderful things. And that's what we want to happen with the world, for it to wake up and,
Right.
you know, be kind to one each other, realize the powerful spirit you really are.
Yeah,
Right.
'cause
You
we
know.
are.
Right.
But
Well, I
I
mean,
think too, what Gary was saying about good in every evil, you know, even with the stuff that's come up recently politically, you know, woke us up to the fact that things aren't just a bowl of roses
Right.
where we thought they were, because you watch the TV and everybody
Right.
looks like they're getting along just fine, and you know it's all good, and then all of a sudden you get, whoa, you know, I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, we need to like keep reevaluating, and if we look for the positive in the negatives,
right.
that's I think what you were
Right.
trying to
Well,
say.
like the positive in the negative being, you know, maybe as a metaphor, people having their heads in the sand and not wanting to deal with some of that darkness that's out there. And the positive is coming to a place where everybody's head's out of the sand, and we say, oh, we don't want that.
Yeah,
We don't
wanna
want
be
that
aware.
anymore.
We want knowledge. We want
And that's
to
the
learn.
treasure, and that's the treasure in that darkness, is coming to that
Yes.
place.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what we're saying.
Yeah.
There's a benefit in everything.
Yeah.
So it is not a negative. It's a thing that, okay, I got something else here. Okay, what can I do with it? How can it help me grow?
Right.
Because it's a growth thing. Because as I mentioned earlier, I know I'm a spirit. You know, I know that I'm just a little small segment of its time. And I'm putting in my stuff here now, and I'm going around gathering information to pass on to the next one.
Right.
Right. But it's all this one spirit, and I'm part of it, and I love that.
Yeah.
I think that is the coolest thing.
Mhm.
I'm immortal.
Yes.
Another thing I take out of this is just like we have to look at ourselves and love both what we might define as positive and negatives, and love the things that we're not so proud of, as
Right.
well as the things that we are. So too with the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And another aspect is not just how can I grow, how can I become enlightened or understand or love myself, but also how can I serve?
Right.
So that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why you grow, to help,
Right. And
to
so
fix.
right, and you know, for me, there's no greater bliss than when I got the chance to say something kind to someone, and I see on their face that it changed their day, or it could have changed their whole month. I mean, who knows? You know, there's no greater bliss than that. So when we can finally learn enough about ourselves, and we can now take that and put it outward and serve, for me, there's nothing else I want to do. I mean, there's just nothing else I want to do, and it's a privilege to get to do that. It's a privilege to get to speak into someone's life. You know, I never force myself on anyone, or but when someone allows me you
Right.
know, to share. So yeah, I'm just excited about, because I just really believe that we are changing rapidly and we are going in that direction. We are going in the direction where more and more people are understanding that there's more to life than what's been, and there's more to us than what's been. And I'm ready to serve in what I've been learning for a while, what I feel like in the dark, you know, that now I can come out and offer, you know, to help others, you know, see themselves, you know, in the
So
light.
what is enlightenment to you?
Enlightenment is acceptance. It's accepting yourself. It's accepting what is. It's accepting other people for where they're at, and still being at peace, not needing to control anything, not needing, you know, even money. I'm learning, you know, we need money to live the way the system works here, but I have found that when I am just focusing on learning the things I need to learn about myself and about others, and that I'm taken care of. I may not have everything I want, but I'm taken care of.
And in wanting things is where the suffering comes.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden you feel like, well, I didn't get everything that I wanted, you know, and it makes you so sad. But if you just don't want things,
Well, and I've lost. I
you
have
have to deal with that.
in the past 5 years. I mean, I have lost and lost and lost and lost, and you know, I used to be just like wanting to kill myself. I mean, lost family. I've lost friends. I've lost, you know,
social status.
well, just I really didn't even have that, but you know, I had my identity wrapped up in, you know, I sew, and I had these wonderful machines, and I lost my wonderful machines. Now what am I going to do? You know, but as I've gone along the way, and I've, you know, learned to accept and learned to let go and learn to, you know, value other things, I have, you know, it's like I can look back and go, I don't need anything except I need right now, and right now is provided for me. So it's not that bad. And sometimes I've like laughed at myself at like how dark I allowed myself to become inside because of those losses. And now I look back and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, that I even saw it that way. So I pat myself on the back, you know, because I'm growing.
Right.
You know, I'm growing.
I looked at that times like that in my life, like I was actually reincarnated, but I never died. But every circumstance was different.
Right.
So now you're starting down a different path, and I think that's probably eternity for our souls. Also, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's just different. But, and we are all taken care of.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is we don't know the end from the beginning, so we can't judge what's going on at the moment because we don't know what the end's going to be.
Right.
So yeah, we're all on that path. I think more and more people are realizing they're not this body, they are this soul.
Right.
You know, and the familiar saying right now is when the power of love outdoes the love of power,
Yes. Yes.
you'll be okay.
But that's really hard to break through our program.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They,
Yeah.
They've been working on us from the day we drew our first breath. You know, and that is very powerful. We were talking earlier about proof of our programming is I don't speak Chinese. I wasn't taught that, but they were. So every one of us is programmed, and we have to. I guess enlightenment is understanding. Okay, I've been given this, but I need more. I've been given this, but this is skewed to my morals, my values, what I think is right counts. Because like I say, I'm the spirit. I've been here for eons, and I'm going to continue on to the end of time. So I have to learn to see beyond what I've been taught to see. Because I
Right.
haven't been taught much. And the things that I've had to learn to get by are way more valuable than the things that I was taught.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But what a rough road that can be when you don't know how to value yourself. When you don't understand your own value. Because then everything out there can pull you and push you and define your life. But when you accept yourself right where you're at, and you learn to value yourself, regardless if anybody else values you. That's where you are set up to learn. Now you can really learn.
Haven't we done that already? Haven't we, as kids, looked in the mirror and say, okay, what the hell now? Okay, I'm stuck in this reality. Now what? And I think for me, I convinced myself that I loved me. And I was the coolest thing yet. And I was going to go out here in the world and enjoy it. A friend of mine asked me about what kind of prayers do I have. He wanted to hear one of my prayers. And I told him I don't pray because there's nothing to pray to. And there's nothing to pray for. Everything I could possibly want is already here for me. All I have to do is enjoy it. Learn to enjoy it. Learn to recognize it. And the crazy part is I believe my stuff. And I think that was my advantage, that I actually believe myself. Okay, I think I've come up with a set of understandings. So when I look at things, I think I have a handle on them, and I think I understand how to use that in my life.
Well, as a child, I never understood any of that.
No, he had a big jump on people like us because he was told, be the person you want to be, create your life. What do you want out of life? What can you do for others? We were told you're no good.
Right.
So, you're looking in the
Completely.
mirror thinking you're a victim of these adults that are in control of your life, where you were able to look in the mirror and go, hey, life's beautiful. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah, what can I do today?
And so
Right.
we had to get all the way to maybe needing a spiritual teacher like Jesus or Buddha or
Right.
someone to tell us, you're okay.
Right.
I love and
Exactly.
accept you.
Exactly.
And then you can move on from there. But that's like, shoot, I'm 73,
Yeah,
we're
I'm just
40
about
years
50,
older.
and
Yeah.
I'm just learning how to walk in this.
Yeah, and that's how hard it can be.
There's a beauty from the inside of you that, and I joked at the gathering that we were at, that there's no shadows. My light just blows all that darkness away. Because from my perspective, it can't be a shadow. There's nothing that outshines me. Again,
Well, yeah.
my spirit.
Right.
This is what and
But-
once you have that kind of mentality,
Right.
it all works. You start seeing a path will open up for you. And a path can be simple. It can be something that catches your eye. And then if you look at it, and then something will catch your attention, and before you know it, you're heading in that direction. And
Well, Jesus used to show me things and ask me things. And I did not understand what he showed me and what he asked of me years ago until the past couple of years. But, and even more so now, it's kind of like puzzle pieces that have fit together, and it's like, oh, now I see the big picture. But he showed me the Bible says that Jesus is a pearl of great price. But he told me that I'm a pearl of great price.
Your spirit.
Right.
Okay.
And he took me to this black curtain. And I just knew in this vision that what was behind that curtain was all those dark things in my past. And he looked me straight in my eyes, piercing eyes, and he said, would you be willing to go back there with me? Because there's people back there that I want to bring up here, to the light. And I said yes. And when he opened the curtain, it was a representation of the most horrible things that happened. And now I understand that to mean he was just asking me, because, what we call shadows, what we call darkness, what we call negativity are words to explain the lostness that other human beings are in. And they have no concept, many have no concept of any light because they've been in that mind frame for so long. And so when he was saying, would you be willing to go back there? What he was saying is, would you be willing to meet someone where they're at and help them walk through? Because the only way out of confusion or darkness or whatever you want to call it is through it. So he was saying, would you accompany? Will you be willing to be in situations that maybe aren't the best in the whole wide world? We all we want to be in our mansion and we want to, we want this and that. He's saying, would you mind being in situations so that you can meet them where they're at and help walk them through? So, and that doesn't mean that that's everyone I come across. I find that I don't have to go look for people. They just end up around me and they'll ask for help. I don't have to force anybody, to do anything. So and that gives me a sense of purpose for where we're at right now on this planet.
Okay. And the dark curtain and the things behind it is similar to what I was saying to you about if you look at it, there's something there for you to benefit from.
Right.
Even if it's just bringing somebody forward and bringing them into the light, there's always a benefit in it. Mm-hmm. And we are in control of that.
Right.
We are in control of how we perceive, mm-hmm. whether we are fearful or brave, or whether we are controlled or controlling.
Right.
We call those shots. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the awakening, the enlightenment that we talk about. It's not a spiritual thing so much as it's a human thing.
Yeah.
We just need to understand there's more here. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think we all got caught up in society's game.
Oh yeah.
And we're still playing it. Okay. Yeah. You can't get around that part because it's here, it exists. It developed over time. I think we got 60,000 years of history that we know of. Okay, so it's been here.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be here a while longer. So we just need to, I guess, learn how to negotiate with one another. That's the key. And we're doing it. We're talking.
Yeah.
And you don't know me you've met me, a couple of times now. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting here talking, opening up, bearing your soul. So that says not only is there hope, there says we already know the path.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're on the path.
Yeah.
We're going towards that image. And I always say, you project your image in front of you, then you use your faith. And your faith is your belief in yourself. So you move to that image. And that image is what you want, how you need the world to be, how you need you to be. And that's a powerful thing, because you could build, you could build it all, from relationships to careers. I was an engineer, and I loved what I did, but I loved not working better. Okay.
Yes.
I just, I wish I'd have left earlier, but, I kind of say I was forced to, but I wasn't. I had a family. I did that out of love. And
I was a stay-at-home mom, and I loved it. I loved caring for my family. And I had a big family. I had 3 of my own children and 2 stepchildren. And my 2 stepchildren were over like 85% of the time. And I loved doing that. But when my life changed and I got divorced, I felt lost. Because my identity was wrapped up in taking care of my family. But I have a lot of talents and skills. And I just have to pick what I want to do, what makes me happy.
Yes, and stop thinking that your identity is tied up in that, whatever it is,
right?
Because it's not.
Right.
That's a falsity that we have. We do those kind of things, and I think there are a lot. We do that to allow us to continue to do what we're doing.
Right.
You mentioned nurturing the kids. I nurtured mine too. And I was talking at the gathering there that nurturing is not a female trait.
Right.
Right. And so that says we have to unlearn a bunch of what society told us.
Right.
That wasn't true.
Right.
Okay.
I think a lot of times there's a truth, but it gets twisted. We just have to.
I think for me, one of the realizations that I had along the way was, the unknown is scary and it's pictured as dark and you don't know, but really each thing we learn is a leap to faith, which is light. Now we're being more enlightened, not, all these scary boogeymen are going to come out and get us from the dark,
Yeah. Or that I have authority over that. I have authority over my life.
Yes.
And I don't have to allow certain things to happen. It's just that, some of these things, it's like I gotta keep learning it and relearning it and reiterating it every single day. Because, I may be practicing and not in fear, and then all of a sudden, that one boogeyman.
Yeah.
Come down and get you.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. No. It's all the same. Right.
But
I don't have to be afraid,
I think that's part of anything new that we learn. It's easy to slide back into the old habits.
Yeah.
Right.
But after a while, that becomes our way. And so then we don't slide back because we're done with that.
Yeah.
We chose another path.
Yeah. And even just sometimes I wanted to say, I just thought this was kind of funny. Sometimes leading someone through the dark is just simply going, I know where the light switch is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
There it is, and let them turn it on, let them decide,
And it's that easy.
It is.
A flick of a switch, yeah.
It is that easy when you are
ready.
Yeah, when you're ready, but when you're not, and I think I told Arville that, and I likened it to a blind person, a sightless person, afraid to move because of danger, right? You could fall off cliff. You can walk in front of a truck, anything. Somebody could be there to hurt you, or so you're frozen in fear. But your faith can say, put an image in front of you and move to it. You could get there. And like in your case, you knew where the switch was. Okay. Where a blind person or sightless one, they don't have a clue.
They don't get the switch, but they do get other heightened senses. So that's the thing. Maybe you're blind, say, in one area, but have great knowledge in another that could, pull you through. Yeah.
Right. But then that's your faith again. You pull it out. You say,
okay, I can't see, but I can hear that truck coming, and I can feel that cliff there.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I see them with those little canes. They're working it out.
I've heard blind people can color coordinate their wardrobe just by the feel. They are that sensitive to color.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? And that just tells me, it's like, I think we all have the capability to do that,
To do all sorts of stuff.
To just,
get over your limitations.
Learn to heighten our other senses and learn that there's more to us than what we've thought.
Exactly what we were programmed to think.
Yeah, and grow strong in that, and and then there's just more opportunities through that. To experience what you want to experience.
Which might be another definition for enlightenment. Just, realizing that I don't have these limits.
Right.
I can, if I'm a little slow in this area, I can be a little quicker in that area and I'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. It's a beautiful concept. Well, Arlene, do you have any words of wisdom that you want to throw out to the world, or something special you think you learned?
I think the greatest thing I've learned is anytime my growth has stopped, it is because I refused to look inward. It was because I refused to look at something that needed a different perception. And so, because I've had trouble with that, I can see sometimes where other people, they're not comfortable with looking inward. But I just want to say that every time I went back, however long it took, and looked inside and took responsibility for myself.
Right.
That's the big one.
Right. And stopped blaming situations and people, that's when I could go to the next level of peace or joy or the things that I wanted in life, or how to attain those things. So that would be my advice, is to try and stay open to looking inside, looking inward, no matter what it is.
How do you manifest that part? Do you do that through meditation, or do you do that through positive feedback in the course of your day? I for instance, I do a simple, deep breath. I pull in energy around me, and I blow out all of the stress and the frustrations, and I'm new. I'm charged. I can go do something, and it's just a single breath. You don't need to meditate for hours, and
right.
It's just, I have myself conditioned so that I think these, I guess, tips or tricks or things to get me through the day, but they have worked all along. So
I can be quite intense, and I can react emotionally quickly. It's a tendency I'm still working on. So prayer for me, it's when I get up in the morning, I just say to my entourage and to the divine, I say, please help me stay aware of where I'm at every moment of the day. Please help me stay aware. And sometimes I get off track, and then it could be a commercial on TV. It could be, on a YouTube or whatever. There's this remembrance, a reminder, it's like, oh, that's my entourage reminding me, remember who you are, remember what you've learned, or here, let me help you, direct you in something that will help further you along in your growth.
Keep you on your path.
Yeah.
I think being a creative person puts you in that state often.
Yes.
Where you're doing something physical, but your mind is, allowed to just think and be.
Right. And I use
Or sitting on a cliff, and just thinking about the day, watching a bird circle, or, you can get to that state without literally saying, I'm going to go meditate now.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right.
It's quieting the mind.
Right.
Well, I read cards intuitively, oracle cards intuitively, but I used to think I needed them every day.
Yeah.
But it was what I needed where I was at. It's just a tool.
Right.
Prayer's a tool. Whatever you can connect to, to connect to the divine, or the divine in you, use that. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because I found that I don't need that anymore. Now I can go inside and hear my answers.
Which is where you need to hear them.
Yeah.
Those
Right.
are the only real answers.
Oh yeah, but it was kind of like I needed them cards for a time,
Right.
just to keep me going, just to keep me, help me keep connected.
And I think too, we've talked about that, like A Beautiful Mind. He's schizophrenic, and one of the takes on it was you could use anything, cards, numbers, birds flying across the sky, and make that have relevance in your life. And then you start noticing that. And then, like you could get a card, you might pay more attention to this card than that card, because that's the direction you're really going
Right.
in. It's you again.
Right.
But you're just manifesting it with the cards because you needed the cards at the time. You needed also visually seeing this stuff.
Right.
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 Wonderful journey we're on, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exciting.
It's exciting.
Yes.
It's definitely exciting.
Yeah. We're fortunate to live in the time we live in, because
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of change.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And change is growth. So with that, I want to put this interview to bed and thank Arlene for coming, talking
Thank you
with
for
us.
having me.
Yes. Okay, just sit for some time. Maybe.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. So I make resin products, orgone pyramids, pendants, keychains, a lot of different products. And you can get a hold of me through zenitude@gmail.com.
Cool.
Perfect.
Thank you. That's great.
Because this goes out to a lot of